Mark,
Hey, Paul.
what's going on?
Trying to make sense of Absolute Green Lantern. Not the easiest chore in the world.
Yeah, my neck is hurting me from all the time whiplash.
There's a lot of it in this.
There is a
But
lot of
what
it in
what a
this.
stellar finale to this issue, though, man. Wow.
Yeah, and um, Absolute Superman, we'll talk about as well, manages to stay all in one time frame. We do talk about the past, but it manages to stay all in one time frame.
For the most
So,
part.
for the most part. So, yeah. But we'll talk about both of them right after this. Before we get started, don't forget to make sure you hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you're alerted whenever we upload new content, and leave us a comment. Let us know how we're doing. Let us know how you're liking the Absolute universe as well, especially Absolute Green Lantern and Absolute Superman, which we will be talking about forthwith, which I think is Old English for in a second.
Mm, could be.
Yeah. But let's start with Absolute Green Lantern.
Okay. Okay. It felt like the end of a story arc to me.
Yeah. Yeah, it really did. Um, Especially with the way well, we'll get to that obviously, but you mentioned especially the way that it ended. um you were right, by the way. We'll get to the ending, but you were right before when I said Simon Baz, we hardly knew you, and you said, do you really think we've seen the end of Simon Baz? And it's like, yeah, yeah, yeah. So anyway, we
I
start
wasn't
where
sure
we
what
always start.
I wasn't sure what you were talking about. I'm so used to hearing that phrase.
You have it taped. You just have a little.
Yeah, I just play it to myself.
Yeah.
It's on loop and I just play it when I lay down for bed every night.
Exactly, you were right. You were right. um You should get a little hat that says Mark was right all along.
Just A-OK it to people.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there
we
you go.
finally got a right out the bat. We start this issue the same way pretty much with just
Hmm.
the all black panels with the little white ring, and it's like Oa talking to people. But we finally get a little bit of context or
Hmm.
a little bit of confusing context. It looks like they're starting to explore that with this issue.
Yeah, and the ring actually turns to well, it's not a circle anymore. It actually is a ring, and the ring suddenly displays all of the different shades or colors of the spectrum. So
Yeah, it says
uh,
I am Oa, Moo, I am the ring. Look inside. It's not about the ring, it's about what's inside the ring.
exactly, just like the cereal boxes.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Cracker Jack.
Exactly.
So yeah, we
What's
we
inside?
jump back years ago right off the bat. We see Sinestro sitting there meditating on his home world, but screaming in pain while he's doing it. And we pretty much go panel for panel with Earth and how do you say the name of his home planet, Krugar,
Corrigar.
Karagar. And then we pop back to Earth where you see two people riding jovially in a car, speeding through the desert outside of Las Vegas. Then back to Sinestro, and you see other people on his planet come in checking on him from yelling through his meditations, and he said that he saw inside the ring, and it turned, and I don't know what to do. I can't process what I saw. And then we're back to Vegas where the car comes up on a wreck with a man in a trench coat outside of a wreck who turns around and just shoots at the car, and it gets a little back and forthy. But you have Sinestro basically trying to process what he saw in his meditation, seeing the ring.
Hmm.
He's saying some familiar phrases of stuff that we've been hinted at along the way. It hasn't really explained none of it. What we've seen, the cyan blue like steel on the metal face. He's just saying the colors that he saw, the face of steel.
Yeah, and we see the person who is inside, who is apparently Jessica Cruz,
Driving
inside
the car in Vegas.
driving the car, talking about what's happened, and she says, I can't really, it was just a guy. I'm like, to me, I know it's not, but to me, I would say he looks just like Jim Gordon.
Yeah, it definitely looks like Jim Gordon. It's not,
um,
but it
I would
is. It kind
I
of
would say
is,
it's not, but it looks just like him.
but it
Um,
is.
yeah. And so she decides basically that because of what's happened, she is never stepping outside of her house ever again.
So we go through a little time spell where you see her just on the phone talking to her mom as the months tick by about how she'll get out and about next month. I don't even really like to go out no more. Oh, I just like to watch nature documentaries. That's all the outside I need. Meanwhile, Sinestro is building some kind of mechanical ring helmet fixture. And then you hear a knock on Jessica Cruz's door, and she opens it up, and Abin Sur is out there. And her initial reaction is not, "Oh snap, a green glowing alien." It's, "Oh wow, can you hide me?"
Right,
That makes
exactly.
no sense, and it's called back to zero later in the book.
Right.
I'm
Uh,
assuming that has to be the moment, like in our first issue, when all the townspeople were vanishing and stuff. Maybe
could be. Could be.
because it gets all the way up to January 2025 on the calendar.
Right.
So it
Right.
has. I guess that's supposed to be where she was during issue one.
Right. Oh, that's a good point. That would put it exactly probably like 17 months ago, right? Which
Probably.
is which is issue
Jesus.
17 too. So, well, there you go.
Look at us unpacking it.
There you go. Um, but then we flash back again to Sinestro, who is it looks like he's having some fun. Yeah, he gets this crown almost that is somehow I'm a little bit lost with it, how he got the crown, who he got it from, and what it's supposed to do to him.
He made it.
Oh, well,
He
there
was
you
making it while Jessica Cruz was on the phone.
go. Okay, well, that's
Yeah,
gonna be.
you see him working on it in the workshop
There you go. Yeah, I see it now. Yep.
because when he was meditating, the face of steel that he saw in his meditation told him that he has to be the guide and the Sinestro. He flipped his lid in that meditation, and this
Yeah,
is the
and then he
first
ends
thing
up
we have to see.
adopting the one of the manhunters, um, kind of yeah, exactly.
I guess
With
it's like the first step to him building that, right? Like the face of
their
steel told
mantra,
him to do this.
right?
Nothing
And,
that lives can escape. No.
mm. Flashback to we see
Now we go
the
to
now
now.
exactly.
Finally.
Yeah, we're in the middle of a fight between Sinestro as he is now. We see Guy Gardner, we see Salak, we see a whole bunch of people fighting. We see the Dark Stars, all of them in this big knockdown drag out fight, which is where we were at the end of the during the last issue actually.
Yeah, guys like holding up Salak between him and Sinestro doesn't care. He just manifests some yellow swords and cuts guy's arm off, stabs him. Doesn't really care about nothing. John Stewart screaming, "Leave him alone." We learn that he can't physically use his powers to interact. That's not what the Gold Lantern does. A little bit of dialogue back and forth between the Black Star and Sinestro about how he's going to fulfill this quest to take them all out and take out the Black Stars. Nothing really matters kind of mindset. Doesn't need anyone.
Right. We see Sinestro talking to Katma, Katma Tui. Um, you know, basically saying that you're not going to beg for his life, are you? And she's like, yeah, I'm not going to be doing that.
By that time, John Stewart jumps on his back,
Mhm.
convinced that he can make something of it. If he can't interact with him on a physical level, he's going to go inside of his head, and he does that. He pops in and gives him this big rousing speech about his ability to be the guardian and this and that. And Sinestro just pretty much just cuts him to pieces, just like really fast. Just a bunch of little slice and dicing.
Yep. John brings up the phrase "what happens in your head also happens," um, which we've seen a couple times now.
He said, "I've always been a man of many parts," and just
Right.
reconstitutes pretty much instantly.
Hmm. John and Sinestro continue to battle it out. We then see uh, Joe Joe Mullen take a gun, and inside the gun is a bullet of a red lantern bullet.
Yeah, she pops up through a portal carrying
Mhm,
Jessica Cruz behind her, and she
mhm,
fires it off, and it's none other than Tomar Ray in bullet
mhm,
form, which is
mhm,
pretty cool. And flying through the air, the will of all of them channeled into this one action. Her pulling the trigger, him flying the bullet, Stewart there, and their will against Sinestro's. You got to manifest it, make it happen, and they make the shot through the head. Boom.
They definitely make it happen. In
They
through the
made it happen.
front, out through the back.
And then she talks to zombie crackhead Jessica Cruz here, who sends her down to Mogo, who goes down and she's outside now and she sees the death and the rot and she just starts putting her hand to things and creating life and plants start growing everywhere. And Mogo becomes recognizable to what we would think when we see Mogo in the main universe, full of life and full of plants and all these good things.
Green and
And the
blue.
dark, yeah, the dark stars on the planet are standing in awe, watching it all happen. They seem to be cool with it. Seem to be cool with it.
Yes. So they're good with it. But then there is suddenly with inside the armor of Sinestro, there is suddenly an error that occurs, a computer error. Um, and then we find out there is a Black Star program which had been interrupted.
Yeah, what's interesting is that same computer program
Mhm.
that we saw a few issues back, and as you follow it through, it fades into that big face we saw with the Adam Strange
Mhm.
character.
Yep.
He's the one actually speaking. He is the computer program. I'm not sure who that's supposed to be. I still don't have a clue. I still don't know, but inside there with her and the giant face is Simon Baz as well.
Right. So Simon Baz is back along with the woman that we saw a few issues ago. I think I had mentioned that I thought it was going to be Hawk Girl,
Oh, I thought it was the Adam Strange
but
character.
but then so
They're
Alana.
they're on Ran, right?
Yeah, but then I think I also said it also could be. She kind of looked like Lady Blackhawk to me too.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
Yeah, we still don't know who she is for sure. Don't
right,
know who the giant face of steel is. Don't know a lot.
right.
But it was cool seeing Tamara Ray turn into a bullet and go through Sinestro's head. This book is a bag of cats.
It really is.
Like it just there's no flow to it. There's no momentum. It's just a whole lot of trying to understand and not being giving the pieces to properly contextualize most of it.
Yes. Um, Not quite as bad as not understanding. I think you mentioned before as Martian Manhunter, but
No, that's by
it's
far the
still
worst.
it still is a little bit. It definitely takes you. It's not light reading. You need to really sit down and look at it and read it and go through it and everything. And I guess and maybe even read it more than once. It's that kind of
Probably
a
need
book.
to. I would recommend getting like a notepad,
Hmm.
a pack of pens. Get different colored pens too, because you're gonna need to create a grid.
Right.
You're gonna need to
Exactly.
create a color coded grid and make sense of it.
Invest in some red yarn.
Yarn.
Mark
That's
can
it.
tell you a whole bunch.
I don't have any to spare, Paul.
Okay.
None to spare.
This
Amazing.
amazing,
Yeah.
amazing. Um,
It
and
was
again,
super.
yeah, it basically again he brings out the toughest part, the most lethal part of Superman, which is his powers and everything. But in the end, it is his humanity that he comes back to again in this issue that displays truly who Superman is. So he keeps going back to it's the humanity that makes him Superman.
Yeah, they pretty much take his powers off the board to a degree in this when it starts in Cordoba, Argentina, where we
Mhm.
see the Man of Steel falling out of the top of a high-rise building and crash landing on the sidewalk. We're like, what? What? Apparently, using some info from his friends and stuff, he's looking for Brainiac right now. So we're done with the last story arc. We're kind of doing like just a solo single issue right here. Just he ain't forgot about Brainiac. He's out there looking for him. But as soon as before he can even stand up, you just hear some crashing on the ground, and this giant metal monstrosity of a creature is standing right in front of him, looming over him. This is clearly what threw him out of that building. And to me, the first thing I said is, "Oh snap, Metallo!"
Which did you see the I didn't get it, but the B cover of this that was it was basically a recreation of the John Byrne Metallo from Superman #2 way back where he's standing over him and he's on the ground. It's like it was really nice the way it was done.
Oh yeah, the first appearance from Action. Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. That's pretty
Hmm.
cool.
No, not from Action. This was it was from Superman. Superman number
That,
two.
that was
That's it right there. Yeah, that's the one. That was from his John Byrne when he took over Superman.
yeah.
It was Superman #2.
Yeah, that's really sweet.
Hmm.
Super duper cool.
So, um, but there's this war going on between Brainiac and Superman with Metallo in the middle, because we come to find out that Metallo is actually Peacemaker.
AKA Metallo from earlier in the run. Yeah,
Exactly.
we saw him take Christopher Smith
Hmm.
and put him under surgery and all kinds of stuff and make Metallo out of him. Along this fight, which this book is just a straight up slobber knocker. And
Hmm.
through this fight, Superman's analyzing the fight, realizing that he's losing his strength along the way. He's trying to figure out what it is. Like he recognized like this is the same feelings I had when I was poisoned by kryptonite. And he's trying to look at his suit. He's like, how is it coming through it? And lo and behold, it's actually coming through Christopher Smith himself. It's coursing through his blood. The suit is not powered by kryptonite.
Hmm.
It's just inside Christopher Smith. So
Hmm.
there's no removing it, which is a cool little moment.
Right, and we go through these different steps where we see Metallo constantly reinforcing the programming that he is actually Brainiac, constantly going through the programming of Christopher Smith, convincing him that he is Metallo. That's who he is now. He is Metallo. With Clark trying to deprogram him and trying to bring him back and say, "No, you are not. You are Christopher Smith." And
Yeah,
so,
there's a really cool moment right here. Soups is like hurt. He's like analyzing a broken lung, a sprained this, a cracked knuckles. All through the fight, he's
mm,
analyzing. And right here, he uses his fists and he charges them up in a little moment, a brief little moment of sunlight poking out behind the cloud to attempt to deprogramming with like 1,000 punches in a split second. Like
mhm,
this, that was incredible, dude.
yeah.
Just that artwork in this is so much fun, but it didn't do nothing. Christopher Smith then spits on him, kryptonite
Mm,
spit, and just beating the tar out of him. You get a couple little flashbacks to Christopher Smith that we saw earlier in the series talking to the Brainiac therapy program and it just ignoring him, pretty much grooming him to be this project later. But they keep fighting and the he's having like a crisis of self between the programming of who he is and what Brainiac put in there and he just keeps laying into him, man.
mhm. And then we get this wicked page of them fighting, um,
Oh
with
yeah.
the silhouettes of the two fighting with the panels inside of the individual panels inside the two of them fighting. It's just that's like next level type
And
art.
while they're fighting, Clark is telling him how when you were dead, I went and saw your mom so she wasn't alone. I attended your funeral with her. I told her how you were the hero and she's proud of you. And like all
Right.
this stuff. Like he's such a good dude, man.
Yeah. And he says the last thing, I told your mother was that her son loved her.
Yeah.
You know.
And eventually cracks him out of it. Brainiac recognizes that it cracked him out of it, and Brainiac takes off. Instead of Superman chasing after Brainiac in that moment, he stands there with Christopher Smith and consoles him because that's where he's needed most, kind of thing.
Yeah. And it's funny because he says there's one thing you can never outrun, and that's the arms of Superman.
Yeah, dude, what
You
a
know.
great issue! And I
Yeah.
love this artist. This is the same guy that was doing the artwork on those first two Hawkman issues.
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
love this artist, man.
Yeah, and Jason, like I said, Jason Aaron is just, I mean, he actually goes to, at one point he says, my eyes swelled shut, so I had to use X-ray vision to see through my eyelids.
It was crazy. Just and it's absolutely my favorite absolute title. They
Yeah,
add the longer it goes, the more entrenched it gets into just this is just damn good Superman. Like
right.
it's an alternate take on the character with the way the designs are, the first experiences meeting with characters and stuff, and some other worldly things, but this is still just Superman.
Right. Exactly.
It reminds me of that was it J. Michael Straczynski that did the Earth One Superman books?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, it reminds me of that in a lot of ways. It's still
Mhm.
just Superman.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, because I mean, like you said, you can take Superman out of whatever you want, but you can't take what makes Superman out of him. If that makes sense.
Exactly. Yeah, you can
So,
put him wherever you want, but you got to keep him inside him.
right. Exactly. So don't forget, while you're still watching, don't forget to make sure you like, don't forget to subscribe, don't forget the notification bell so you're alerted whenever we upload new content, and leave us a comment so you let us know how we are doing. But that's going to be it for this edition of DC Comics Deep Dive. As always, I am Paul. He is Mark.
And
And
we
we
are
are
Legion.
Legion.
They're both Legion, and they're now leaving Sector 2815.